Hello, America. It's time to check the nonsense at the door, clear the cobwebs between your ears, and have a rational-ish conversation. This is the lost art of common sense.
That's my character. I'm the trash man. I come out, I throw trash all over the ring, and then I start eating garbage. And then I pick up the trash can and I smash the guy on the head.
That's right, America. I'm Josh, and Kevin, unfortunately, is not with us because he's out there fishing for clown colleges because clowns got to eat too. So I'll be running it solo today. Chat is open. I don't know how much I'll be able to check it, being that I'm running the board and everything on my own, but we'll make it work. This week is going to be primarily just don't really have a topic per se, just like with the things that went on this week, which it was a pretty exciting week. I think we can all agree. So we'll just jump into happenings of the week and go from there.
What's happening?
What's happening?
What's happening?
What's happening?
What's happening? What is happening?
All right. So happenings of the week, obviously, it started out with a bang as far as garbage talk goes. Started out with a comedian, Tony Hinchcliffe, making a comment of there's a floating island of garbage out in the Pacific or out in the ocean. And he says he thinks it's called Puerto Rico, which a lot of people took offense to that because they were like, well, he's calling Puerto Ricans trash. That's messed up. He needs to apologize, blah, blah. But he wasn't, I didn't really know about this. This is like one of those jokes. And he has said before where if you're educated and know what's going on, you get his jokes better, which maybe you need to shoot a little, set your bar a little lower on your jokes. But I looked it up and there actually is a huge trash problem in Puerto Rico. I mean, this is one of their beaches. So, I mean, the reason why I called it a floating island of garbage is because they have a huge garbage problem in Puerto Rico, as you can see from the pictures. So, not overly surprising, I guess, because of the fact that it's a huge tourist destination and it's an island. So you constantly have people and products and everything coming in. I'm not sure how big the industry is for shipping garbage out, but hopefully get that figured out. Because, yeah, it stinks. But that's where the joke came from. He wasn't calling the people trash. It's just that there's a lot of trash in Puerto Rico. But not to be undone, of course, and I don't know if he did this on purpose or if his aides are ticked off about the whole thing that went down with Biden and getting out, but it's kind of weird how during her speech, he was supposed to be tucked away in the White House, not really doing anything, but watching the speech, and somebody put him in front of a camera and or on a Zoom call, and yeah. Most of us know how that turned out, but if you
The
don't,
only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
so yeah, that's the president of the United States calling roughly half, if not possibly and hopefully more than half of the country garbage. So just in case you missed it.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
And the thing about that, there was no stutter, and they're saying, "Oh, it was ownership." He was talking about the comedian. I'm like, no, he wasn't. There's been plenty of comments made in the past by Democrats toward not Republican candidates, but the Republican supporters, like they're the candidates themselves, but they're supporters, like the deplorables and Obama saying we all clench our Bibles and our guns. So yeah, there's been plenty of examples, but not to let anything go to waste. I don't know how they did this so fast, but I guess the next day or whatever, he was going to a rally, and Trump went ahead and took a ride in a dump truck with his logo on it. So "Make America Great Again." So that was pretty interesting and cool how fast he got that turned around, like how fast they did a turnaround on that. And he wore that orange vest throughout his entire speech. According to him, it's because his aides said it looked slimming on him. So when they told him that, he was all about it. So yeah, there's been a lot of garbage talk, literally and figuratively, talk this week. I'm trying to walk that back. I know Biden's not run for president, but he is the current head of the Democrat Party, being he holds the highest office in the land. So, and there's plenty of his examples to show that, that they basically think if you don't support them that you're trash. So that was an accurate statement that he made based on what Democrats think of Republican supporters. So Kamala did her closing argument, which was lampooned by, Joe Biden with his.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
And the weird thing is she was like painting that speech in her closing argument as a unifying speech. Like, oh, I'm going to unify everybody. I'm going to unify everybody. But most of her speech was just talking about Trump, like how bad Trump is and how he's a dictator. He's going to be a dictator on day one and this and that and this and that. And I don't think the backdrop was really the best for that speech, just because it didn't seem to have a lot of joy and, joyful warrior feel to it. But it also, she did it because of January 6th. Like, that's where Trump gave his freedom speech before a bunch of dumbasses went into the Capitol, which was stupid. And if you're there and you went in, that was dumb. Even if you were escorted around the building by the police, you still shouldn't have done it. But by her standing there, this is kind of a reminder that, she's in charge with Biden. So she said, we're going to turn the page. We're going to make things better. And, it's, I don't think so. So yeah, that was not a good look. I don't think. Could just be me, but it just seems broody. It doesn't seem very joyful. Now, obviously in the picture, I don't know if you can see how big it is, but she's definitely cackling again. She does a lot of that, but didn't talk much about policy. The stuff that she says she's going to do is just going to rack up a ton of national debt. I mean, you think that you're going to get helped out by, a $25,000 down payment for first-time home buyers. That's literally just going to add $25,000 to the cost of houses. That's how that works. If the government gets involved and there's government money involved, stuff gets more expensive. Government gets into college loans get more expensive. That's just how it works. Oh, looks like Kevin's watching, so that's cool. Kind of like I did. Couldn't be on, but supporting. And let's see. She did have to do with her impression. That's true. Couldn't go out without the cackle. And just because Kevin's commenting, yes, I intentionally put a lot of photos and videos in this one to help draw it out and kill some time. So that, and I know how to do all that stuff and you don't. So that's your bad. There was something too back on the whole thing with Biden and what he
The
said.
only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
There's people investigating the transcript because they altered it to make it look like singular or whatever. Well, they were asking if that transcript was signed because it's illegal to alter government transcripts. So in order to save face, even with it in there, it wouldn't have made any sense. So, but they're trying to cover up for him. So there might be a little heat coming down on that. So we'll see. Along with, here's another thing. She talks about unity and all this stuff. And we're going to have people sitting at the table and blah, blah, blah. Well, does it cause unity at home when you're putting out ads asking for wives to lie to their husband or buddies to lie to their friends? I'm asking for a friend.
Your turn, honey.
In the one place in America where
Try
women
Julia
still
Roberts.
have a right to choose. You can vote any way you want. And
All
no
of
one
being
will ever
sneaky
know.
together.
Did you make the right choice?
Sure did,
Make the
honey.
husband look a little
Remember,
creepy.
what happens in the booth stays in the booth. Vote Harris Walls. Vote Common Good is responsible for the contents of this ad.
Oh, here comes George Clooney.
Come on, boys.
The one thing,
make America
I wouldn't be
great
overly
again.
surprised that a dude with a man bun was over
It's your
there.
turn, buddy.
Not judging.
Before you
I'm just
cast
saying
your
there's
vote
time.
in this election, think about how it'll impact the people you care about the most.
Daddy!
1 minute, son.
Remember, you can vote any way you want,
We're gonna do the right
and
thing.
no one will ever know.
Except for
Do your
one
patriotic
Bible
duty.
clutching,
You
gun
better,
toting.
brother.
What
All
happens
right,
in the
friend.
booth stays in the booth. Vote Harris Walls.
Yeah, apparently both of them caught some heat for that, so that was pretty interesting. So yeah, just lie about it, because there's a different. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there are people that are embarrassed to be a Harris supporter now, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, considering she's a horrible candidate. It has nothing to do with her race, sex, or creed or anything. She's just a horrible candidate. But it's like before, people had a visceral, violent reaction to Trump supporters, so that's why they were kind of quiet and just they didn't lie. I mean, I never gave a crap about if anybody asked me who I was going to vote for. Or if I wanted to tell them, I'd tell them. I'd care less what the reaction was. But see, Kevin gets it. Man bun, support. Harris, yes. But it's, I don't know. It's just weird. It's like, yeah, just lie. It's like, I did the right thing. I guess technically in their mind, it'll be a white lie because the husband asked, did you do the right thing? Yeah, honey, I did. I voted my conscience to help stop us from having grandkids, because that's what the Democrats stand for, kind of, sort of, if you look at it in a certain way and turn your head sideways. So, yeah. Just a little protect the vote thing as far as any news coming on that. Fires in ballot boxes in the Northwest, which the cops seem to have no idea what the motive was, although the incendiary devices did say support Gaza or free Gaza. So, but they have no idea what the motives were. Apparently, both of those ballot boxes were in, not 100% sure, but were in heavily red areas. So, interesting. In Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the AP reports that a criminal investigation is currently underway in a crucial presidential battleground of Pennsylvania after election workers in one county flagged about 2,500 vote registration forms for potential fraud. Two other counties were alerted to look for similar problems. Apparently, the forms arrived in the Lancaster County Election Office shortly before the state's deadline to register this past Monday, and were apparently part of a larger effort to sign people up, officials said Friday. Let's see. Some had false names, suspicious handwriting. I'm not sure what that means. Like, did a 5-year-old write? I'm not exactly sure what suspicious handwriting would be. I mean, I've seen, because they stopped teaching cursive a while ago, and I've seen people sign their name with print, and you would possibly think a 5-year-old did it, but whatever. But suspicious handwriting, questionable signatures. If it's in print, that's not questionable. Incorrect addresses, and other problematic details. Two other unnamed counties received similar applications and were notified to check into them. Lancaster County District Attorney Heather Adams said at a news conference, she said election workers noticed that numerous applications had similarities, but officials did not indicate the volume of suspicion or suspicious applications, or say how many applications had already been fully investigated. It appears to be an organized effort at this point, said Adams, an elected Republican, and to make sure they put that in there. But of course, it's an ongoing investigation, and we'll be looking into who exactly participated in it and how far up it goes. So it's a little news thing from Pennsylvania. Kevin wanted me to remind you that we will be live Tuesday. I may be a little late, hopefully not, for our live elections spectacular, where we just basically monitor the election and try to stay on until we get the results. PA is already saying that chances of them having it on election day are slim to none, so we may have to get some banana bags, Kevin, in order to not die of alcohol poisoning during that episode. So let's see. VA Virginia did win their court case as far as removing non-citizens from their voter rolls. And it's kind of weird that the federal government actually, like the Justice Department, sued over this, because it's been on the books for quite a while. And he just basically, what the governor did is he just put out a thing saying you're going to do it. You're going to follow the law. And they argued against it. And I'm like, it's just weird when you have people going and saying, when you have the federal government going to court to try to stop a state from removing non-citizens from the voter rolls, you have problems. You can say what you want. That's weird. And it doesn't matter, because people are like, well, some people, become citizens and they just didn't, fix the thing, or maybe they forgot to check the box, or well, Virginia has same day voter registration. So if there is something wrong with it, these people get notified by mail that there's a problem, and they can go all the way up to election day and register. So there's nobody actually being denied to vote, unlike some people in Pennsylvania where they were like shutting down early voting or something. I don't know exactly what the story was, but they ended up turning around, but they were trying to deny people, and there's some weird stuff going on with the voter lines and stuff like that. So there's already shenanigans and a bunch of not good stuff going on. So, that's awesome. Oh, and just random, apparently, I don't really pay attention to baseball unless the Cubs are playing, but the Yankees lost the World Series, I think 4-1. It's kind of embarrassing, but got to look inside, look deep, and figured out how they messed that up. So, sorry, New York Yankee fans. Hooray for the Dodgers fans, which sadly did end up in some fires being started and some stores being looted. I'm not 100% sure where celebratory acts turn into stealing shit, but that did happen. So that kind of sucks for that. Apparently, there are record early turnouts all over the country. I think people are both amped up and wanting to get this election over because, I mean, really, when you have a guy running for a third time, so he got in pretty early, it does seem like we've been in an election cycle. Well, even with how they were treating Trump when he was in office, like we've been in just constant overload on politics for the last 8 years. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to go ahead and say I'm right. So, yeah, it'll be nice to get that over. But apparently, part of the early turnout is Republican numbers coming in. So that's surprising and different. So that's pretty cool. We'll see how it works out. If you haven't voted, make sure you go vote. I think early voting may have ended today for most people. But if you haven't voted, make sure you go Tuesday on your election day. If you know friends that haven't voted, take them with you. Vote your conscience. It's just, you have to vote. If you don't vote, to me, you can't bitch. If you're not, because that's your voice. Your voice and how the country runs is your vote. That's what that does. You can try to persuade people by, talking through the issues and stuff like that, pointing out how this doesn't, you don't agree with this or whatever. But ultimately, your voice is your vote. And the funny thing is not many people, like I think, I don't know, it might have gotten better here, but I think 11% of the city I live in voted. Like 11% of the populace or registered voters vote. And your local government, other than, causing mass inflation, make everything unaffordable and making you broke. I mean, the federal government can mess that up pretty bad, but your local government has a lot to do with how you live your life. And you think more people to pay attention to that. But if you don't vote, you can't bitch because you just gave away your voice. If you don't vote, you give away your voice, so no one hears it. And a lot of people that bitch about politics, it's funny to find out that they don't vote. I always do. So see what Kevin has to say here. He does agree. We need this to end. Can't wait till Wednesday. Yeah, and hopefully we do know Wednesday, because hopefully, I'm rooting for Trump, and hopefully Trump wins so many electoral colleges on Tuesday that it doesn't matter if somebody's running behind because he's already got it. So, there is this weird thing, though. I've been hearing these commercials from Robinhood about buying presidential contracts or something like that. And it's not who wins. It's they have to win and then be certified by Congress. So it's like, why would you throw that in there? Because if and when Trump wins, kind of looks like he's got a pretty good chance of doing it. I can only imagine the shenanigans that's going to happen just by the Democrats alone. And that's why when you do go, and if you're going to go vote for Trump, make sure you vote down ballot for Republicans. Because if we don't hold the House and Republicans don't take the Senate, it's just going to be the same shit where it's going to be impeachment, this, that, and it's going to be never ending. So make sure you're doing your down balloting, unlike, when Biden won with those 81 quadrillion votes that he got, most popular president in the history of the world. The ballots only had votes for him, no down balloting whatsoever, which, is totally normal, not weird, just saying, not weird at all. and make sure you vote with your head and not your emotions, because old Bill O'Reilly said, anytime you go back in any of the elections where a president was elected on an emotionally charged electorate, the country went to shit because people aren't thinking clearly. And I mean, that's how, and people can say Trump's bad and, you know, this or that, and you don't like his tweets and this and that. But how much of that was fed to you by the media and just nonstop? I mean, think about it. Think about what president, and you can like him or hate him, but just think about what president got the amount of shit that Trump got from day one. Like everybody steps over, like they tell you, oh, Republicans are violent and blah, 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 blah. And we totally forget about the protest riots and cars burning after Trump's inauguration in 2017. Just step over that. That's why Kevin's not as worried about it as I am, but if and when he does win, hopefully we don't have a left supporters version of January 6th, because there's a good chance if that happened that how the Democrats paint the January 6th riot would actually come to fruition. So hopefully they cool off and that doesn't happen. But yeah, that's what I think burned out a lot of people on Trump. Like I say, Trump's reactionary. So if he's constantly getting attacked from the media, from Democrats, all the stuff they told him about, ends up being lies. And they keep pushing that both good people on both sides and all that stuff. And it all turns out to be lies, but if you're constantly inundated with it, and people are just tired of hearing about it. And that's part of the plan. They just try to wear you out on it. So don't fall for it. So that pretty well wraps up what I wanted to talk about as far as what's going on and all that stuff. Kevin, if you know of anything I missed, go ahead and pop it up there. But I am going to go ahead and do my winners and losers of the week, because I got a loser that I actually pointed out I didn't like in our promo video 3 years ago.
In my book, you're a winner too.
I think you're a loser.
So my loser of the week is Mark Cuban, and not just for being Mark Cuban, but apparently he insulted a lot of people with this comment.
Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women, ever. Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women, ever. Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women, ever.
I learned a marketing class. If you hear something 3 times, you remember it. But I think it had to do with a question about why he's not working more with Nikki Haley. But he basically called the governor of Arkansas a weak, dumbass woman. And then the funny thing is when I heard about it, Nikki Haley works for Fox News right now, and she was reporting on it. She's like, I take offense to that. I worked with Donald Trump. This is kind of like when I was saying, I don't like Mark Cuban. He's one of these guys. I think he made most of his money on the tech boom, and whatever, make your money. I don't got any problem with that. But he's just like, he's always been for the left, and at the same time, like we said a long time ago, but like he's even said, if you raise taxes on rich people, they're gonna get their money somewhere. So he's just a weird dude, and someone needs to tell him. Whoever said he looks good in those glasses, I mean, he looks dumb, and he says a lot of dumb shit. So yeah, he's my loser for a mountain of things, but I mean, mostly for this.
Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women, ever.
And then, yeah, he is, Kevin. He is like slowly turning into Rachel Maddow. I did not notice that, but now that you say that, I see it. I see it now. But yeah, he's just horrible. I didn't like him then. And if you gave me Maverick tickets, I'd return them. I wouldn't even take them. My winner is Donald Trump, and maybe it's more like Donald Trump AIDS, but just the way he's played everything off, you can see he's kind of in a better mood with stuff. Like he's on offense. He's having a good time. People are having a good time. So, he's my winner because the garbage move is just great. I don't know who put that together so fast, but I mean, first McDonald's, epic troll, and now the garbage truck. I mean, he's just good at trolling the internet. So it's pretty impressive. So he is my winner of the week. And I do have a Trump truth, which kind of ties into all this. So let's see what that is.
What I say is what I say.
And my Trump truth is you can't lead America if you don't love Americans. And you can't be president if you hate the American people. And that is the Trump truth.
What I say is what I say.
So, yeah, I think that's a true statement, too. I mean, they want to be unifying, but at the same time, are always talking down to people. And even like when they say like voter ID is racist and stuff like that, it's like, okay, you're being you're like voter ID. So you're saying people aren't smart enough to have an ID. I mean, they're condescending. They look down on people. I don't know when. I'm not saying Republicans are ever elite, but I remember back when I was a kid, Republicans were like, oh, yeah, Republicans are rich and they're bankers and this and that and this and that. And I don't know when it switched to where the elite started taking over, but like started taking over on the left, like, and pushing that. And it probably might have been when globalism became had a stronger, hold in America, because Republicans, I think, I mean, other than Democrats used to be for free speech and all that stuff. I don't think they're ever big on the Second Amendment, but they were big on hopefully he's winning, and not only on our show, but on Tuesday as well. That's right, Kevin. What about Obama? Other than him like not liking women. So since there's a nice little delay, I'll just wait for Kevin's response to that. But yeah, talking about unifying and all that stuff, I kind of wanted to play some clips. One of these clips is a little older. It's from earlier in the year. And it's a false report by George Snuffleupagus or whatever his name is. But how rhetoric matters, and how they're saying, how are you going to unify a party when the media just repeats and parrots whatever the left tells them to do? Oh, that is probably when the switch happened, I guess. Yeah, I think you're right, Kevin. When he got elected, that's when things started being different. Well, that's when it didn't really matter if you had a Republican or Democrat. Republican, they had different ways of doing stuff. And Clinton did kind of try to push universal health care, but then he kind of came back and became more moderate. But yeah, I'd say under Obama is when stuff tried to change. But yeah, this is an older clip earlier in the year. He was still in the court cases, but you can't talk about unity because the press parrots everything the Democrat Party stands for, especially George Snuffleupagus. So here's a little report he did, and it has all the tall tale signs of the standard left crap.
President is under fire for a video he posted on social media that used language from Nazi Germany.
Nazi Germany.
The latest in a series of anti-Semitic and authoritarian statements from Trump and his campaign. Rachel Scott has the story. Good morning, Rachel.
Hey, George, good morning to you. It is normal, of course, for presidential candidates to share videos with their vision for the country. It is not normal for those videos to have references to Nazi Germany and Adolf Hitler. Yeah. The Trump campaign tells us this morning that this was a video that was shared by a staffer while the former president was in court, saying that staffer missed the reference. But as of this morning, that video has not been taken down.
Former President Donald Trump sparking backlash this morning after a video posted to his social media account seemingly suggests there will be a unified Reich if he wins the 2020.
See, does it say unified Reich? And I guess it does. Yeah. I don't know why they use Reich.
Election.
Donald Trump wins.
That showed up in this.
What's next for America?
Those words are largely associated with Nazi Germany and Adolf Hitler's Third Reich,
economy booms.
Another name for his Nazi regime. The 30-second video features hypothetical newspaper articles of Trump celebrating a victory in November. That phrase appearing 3 times, including under the headline, "What's next?"
Yeah, so what happened here is they photoshopped this on here, and they probably weren't paying attention to what was on it. I mean, just trying to be nice about it, but yeah, that looks like what happened. So it's like, oh, it appeared 3 times. Yeah, because they used the same backdrop and photoshopped a different image over the front. That's what happened.
Next for America. It includes references to World War I, citing German industrial strength and peace through strength.
Probably because the original paper image they used was post-World War I. So, and it would be interesting to read the context of the articles that paper was, or that Photoshop was put over. I think it would be kind of dumb if the guy I doubt he picked a German paper, because it's all in English. So yeah, it's probably just an old paper from post World War I.
Another headline suggesting Trump would reject globalists, a phrase often used by the far right as an anti-Semitic slur.
Here's the thing, too. Now, granted, this is older, and the left has gotten extremely more anti-Semitic, but how is anti-globalism anti-Semitic? So what are they implying, that the Jews run the world? I mean, I do know that a lot of people on the left think that. So I guess since they believe Jews run the world, if you're anti-globalist, then you're anti-Semitic somehow. It's like, for one thing, if you live in a free country and you're free people, you can't buy into the globalism unless everyone on the planet's going to do what we do. Then globalism can go fuck itself. I mean, that's like all the stuff like from the Paris Climate Accords, all that stuff, all the stuff we're doing with our diesels. Our diesels in this country already meet the standard emission standards. The DEF, the DPF filters, all that stuff. That is from the Paris Climate Accords. That has nothing, because they have to use that. And even over there with their engines, I don't know if it's a fuel problem or engines, but they still can't meet our emissions. So that's what globalism gets you. And then other countries and people from other countries telling us what to do. And that's not going to happen if you live in a free country and you're free people, which is why Republicans that believe in freedom or believe the Constitution aren't big fans of globalism.
In a statement, Trump campaign's press secretary says this was not a campaign video. It was created by a random account online and reposted by a staffer who clearly did not see the word while the president was in court. But the campaign has not deleted the post, and it's not the first time Trump has used language similar to what Adolf Hitler once wrote. Just months ago, he declared immigrants are poisoning the blood of America.
They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done.
This morning,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that, I'm not 100% sure, I didn't go back and reference the whole video, but I think that had to do with the fentanyl epidemic. And that does poison the blood because it kills you. So, but they take things and then, whether it's in 90% of the time out of context, and they just keep repeating it. Even if it's been proven false, they keep repeating it.
The Biden campaign issuing a statement saying Donald Trump is not playing games. He's telling America exactly what he intends to do if he regains power, rule as a dictator over a unified Reich.
The Biden campaign calling this a pattern, noting in their statements that the former president had dinner with a white supremacist 2 years ago, and one said that there was very fine people on both sides after the white supremacist.
Kind of like how Biden went to the funeral of a grand wizard for the KKK. Just pointing
rally in Charlottesville. We have asked the Trump
campaign
not sure why this video has not been taken down. We have not heard back, Robin.
All right, Rachel, our thanks to you. We have a new...
Yeah, breaking news on there. And then they keep doing the good people on both sides. Good people on both sides. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay. Good people on both sides. Yeah, sure. And then a more recent one is coming from his rally at Madison Square Gardens, like how that's I can't believe he did that. It's just horrible.
It is absolutely something that is intended to and is fanning the fuel of trying to divide our country.
There's a direct parallel to a big rally that happened in the mid-1930s at Madison Square
Garden. I don't know how many people actually watched the rally or listens to it, but there wasn't a lot of hateful rhetoric going on there. They call it hatred rhetoric if you're pointing out how bad the country's going, as far as and I guess you can deny it all you want, but I mean, literally, there's 2 wars going on. North Korea troops have made it to Kursk, and I think it's Kursk, whatever the name is, in Russia. And they're saying should be joining the fight here pretty soon. So I'm not exactly sure how many countries have to be in a war before it's a world war, but people are lining up, and it's all because of Biden's weakness. So that's the only negative things I heard during his closing argument was stuff pointing out that needs to be fixed in this country. So Hulk Hogan didn't hate speech.
These are mini January 6 rallies.
How did we get
Mini.
here? Where a stadium of people come to hate.
Yesterday's Trump rally from hell.
Vile, racist, sexist insults dominated Donald Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was the reaction to his rally, and it goes to a bigger point and something I wanted to end the show with, because people need to stop. And I don't care if it's, because people will say, well, they're more like Hitler or Nazis or this or that. And people need to stop referencing. For one thing, if they're like, Kamal's like, I would never disparage Trump supporters and voters that support him. If you're calling Trump Hitler, what were Hitler supporters? Nazis. So every time they call Trump Hitler, they're calling anyone who supports Trump a Nazi, and they need to stop doing that. Nazis and Hitler were horrible people, and if we're doing it on our side, we need to stop it too. I mean, I know I made that video, which this one that compares her to Thanos.
I can imagine what can be
out of the
and
socialist
be unburdened
handbook.
by what has
Like,
been.
this is why I pointed
know?
it out.
What can be
Like,
unburdened
you have
by
to
what
forget
has
the
been.
past
What
in order to
can
put up
be
with the jacked up
unburdened
future.
by what has been. What can
And it kind of
be
sounds a lot like
unburdened by what has been. What can
part of a
be
movie. I'm just saying. Am I
unburdened
wrong?
by what has been.
I know what I must do. Create a new one, teeming with life, that knows not what it is lost, but only what it has been
I'm
given.
just saying. And and I don't have a problem with people pointing out, if someone's like, that person is a communist or a socialist or has socialist ideas. That's not calling them Hitler. That's not calling them Nazis. That's literally an ideal that people are pushing and have been trying to push in this country for a long time, and it never works. It doesn't work. It will never work unless they come up with, 0 point energy and housing, food, and fuel and all that stuff is free. Your socialism will never work. They tried it, during the original 13 colonies. I forgot which one it was. Might have been Charlestown. But one of the original 13 colonies tried the whole socialism thing where everybody takes all the food they grow, they put it in the food bins, and then you just take what you need. And then people swiftly figured out that if, I can get food, I don't need to work. There's food right there. And then they almost starved to death. Hippie communes always fail because, mostly probably because it gets super nasty and people end up with scabies. I mean, just pointing that out. A little marking back to the Trump thing too. Obama did have a rally at MSG, so, and not Chinese food MSG, the actual stadium. And a bunch of people have, and I don't know why. It's just because it's Trump. So, I mean, everybody needs to tone down. It just back when Reagan and Carter debated, my fine opponent, and now it's just like, I get why Trump is the way it is, and you can say I'm making excuses for him all you want, but at the end of the day, Trump is constantly attacked on every level of communication possible, whether it be social media, news, people trying to arrest him, throw him in jail, impeach him, accuse him of doing all this messed up stuff, paying foreign intelligence agents to make some bullshit, portfolio up on you, which gets you impeached. It ends up being false. So yeah, I mean, and maybe that's different. Maybe that's why he can get away with stuff, because he always does punch back. But I mean, the guy's had 2 assassination attempts. Technically, I think it was 4. Like 2 were stopped before they ever got to where they had a gun within his vicinity. But it's just, stop calling people Hitler and Nazis. They are not Hitler and Nazis. There isn't a person in the United States that is as bad and can be compared to Hitler and Nazis. So that pretty well wraps it up for me tonight. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope it was educational or at least entertaining, if nothing else. But I am going to leave you with this video on why we should stop calling people Hitler and Nazis. So until next week, I'm Josh, and this was The Lost Art of Common Sense.